Hi, Namaste, Nithyanandam. Thanks for tuning in.
Nithyanandama.
Nithyanandam. So this is Nithyananda Swami, and I'm so blessed to be interviewing her. My name is Nithya Swarupa Priyananda. So if you're new to both of us, we are disciples of His Holiness Paramahamsa Sri Nithyananda, and Nithyananda Swami has probably the most extreme experience in her life, I would say, of anybody I know. So thank you so much for sitting with us for this interview today. And
It's my pleasure, as always, to sit and
ah,
talk to you.
yes, and you too. I only
So much
wish we were
fun.
in person.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
looking forward to the next time.
Mm.
So actually, the first time
Mm.
I met Nithyananda Swami, whom we call Akka, it was back in 2009. And back then, if you remember, I was actually an Inner Awakening participant with your Purvashram sister.
Sister,
And
yeah.
yes, and she introduced us, and I was just so excited to meet you. You were the first actual celebrity I've ever met. And everyone in the campus was just in awe of the fact that an award-winning, very famous leading lady was here among us. And you were just so sweet and so humble right from the beginning. Can you tell me a little bit, what was your life
Mm.
like back then? That was December 2009, to be specific.
Yes.
Mm.
Mm. Then I was just busy working with my films,
Yes.
and I always wanted to direct films. So I was working on a script in which I had already had my cast set in. I
Hmm.
was planning to direct a Hindi film, so I was working on primarily a Hindi film, a Hindi script, and that was what I was doing on one side while I was also acting in a few films at that point in time.
Wow. So acting and directing simultaneously, very, very busy. And
And I was doing my own script because it is
uh,
going to be a very unique story.
yes.
I was doing my own scripting and dialogues.
Yes. And at the same time, you found time to do seva, to be of
Yes,
service in the Nithyananda Peetam Bengaluru Adheenam. So how did you,
volunteering. Yes.
yes, volunteering. How did you find Swamiji and get involved with his organization?
Okay, there are multiple dimensions.
Hmm.
Not dimensions, probably facets to the story,
Hmm.
which I've never shared before. I
Hmm.
think it was early 2009.
Yes.
And I think I've shared with you many times that I've always been reading books and, about
Yes.
gurus,
Hmm.
sages, the Vedas, the Upanishads.
Yes.
And my partner in such things was my Purvashram elder sister,
Ah.
whom you've also met. And one day it so happened, I had a very strange dream. I was in a forest and a young monk was walking in the forest.
Yes.
So it was just a vision of someone walking, a dream, or vision,
Yes.
whatever we can say, of a young monk walking in the forest, and I could very clearly see it. And the only thing that came across, I could not see the face clearly. It was just a figure,
Hmm.
the physical form, and the name Nithyananda came across in that whole dream.
Wow.
And at that time, I had no idea who it was.
Hmm.
So the next day, my Purvashram sister and myself were talking, and I asked her, "Do you know is there anybody like this? Because it's so strange. I had this dream last night." So both of us were googling, and
Wow.
we found this. This one Nithyananda of Ganesh Puri. I think much earlier he used to be
Hmm.
alive. And my
Yes.
sister said, "Oh, must be this person." I said, "No, no, no. This is not the person. This is an
Hmm.
old person who's no
Yes.
longer around. But the one in my dream was a young person. So maybe I didn't know what it was, and we just left it."
Hmm.
Then I had left it, but my Purvashram younger sister was googling, and she came across Swamiji's videos.
Hmm.
And that's when she sent it to me the first time and saying, maybe this was the person who came in your dream. And I'm like, I
Wow.
don't know, must be. So
Hmm.
that was my real first introduction. First
Wow.
time I saw Swamiji.
Huh. That is so
Then
cool. You've
in
never told us this part before.
yes,
Huh.
actually I was myself surprised because I just couldn't connect, and it took me so many years to actually believe
Hmm.
that it could be
Wow.
connected.
Wow. Actually, that's something very common I hear among devotees. We'll have a vision or a
Mm.
dream or some kind of a miracle experience. And the first reaction is it's too good to be true. So the human mind doubts it. But I think
Mm.
after we're around Swamiji for a few years or even some for a few days, we realize, okay, the power that he radiates, no wonder this happened. Then we know it's true. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing this mystical first experience you had of him. Yes.
Then, of course, I met Swamiji first time in Chennai. There was a spiritual book fair, which I had gone, and Swamiji was chief guest who inaugurated the book fair. That was my first real meeting of Swamiji. And I've started watching Swamiji's discourses and his philosophy, which is what attracted me the most.
Mm.
By that time, I had volunteered for many NGOs where I said, like I said earlier,
Mm.
one of the four core things I found was the man's inability to handle his emotions.
Wow.
And I found that as a society today, we are able to give them a temporary advice or
Mm.
suppressants in form of medications.
Mm.
Beyond that, we have not been able to support people for a complete solution.
Mm.
I have worked in different facets of the society, like with the mentally ill,
Mm.
destitute women, children of criminal parents, slum children,
Mm.
almost everything, domestic violence, HIV, everything. But the core was the man's inability to handle his emotions. When I came across Swamiji's teachings, I found that his teachings were, I mean, for me, I realized that was a permanent solution for the suffering,
Yes.
as we see in human beings today. That was what was the most major, I think the only thing that attracted me to Swamiji and his teachings.
Mm.
Like if someone can show a man a way to handle his emotions, then there would be no suffering in life.
Right. Right. Because the emotional reaction to the events of life are actually
Mm.
what cause the pain, not the event itself. How
Itself, absolutely.
Yes. Now,
So see, we have read about it. Sorry, I just want to finish. So
sure,
we've
sure.
read about it in many texts. Like the Bhagavad Gita talks about this as its predominant teaching,
Mm.
but nowhere it has taught us how to apply it in life. In
Mm.
Swamiji's teachings were daily application of this philosophy in my daily life.
Mm.
It was not just something I would talk in theory, but I could apply it in life, see how it affected or impacted me, and again apply it where every time there was a permanent solution. That was what I was most attracted to.
Wow. And at that time, so you met Swamiji at a book fair, you said.
Yes.
What was the typical public perception of Swamiji back in those days? Because what I remember, I remember
Mm.
we went to Salem for one small event during that December IA, and it was almost like Swamiji was treated like a rock star. There were some 30,000-40,000 people who turned up, and huge banners across the road throughout the whole city. Was that basically
Mm.
how he was seen in South India?
See, the first time when I met Swamiji, I had only known him through the discourses.
Okay.
So I had not done much of, I mean, I didn't know much about it because I'm not, probably I didn't do much of asking around or anything. But
Mm.
then when I started attending his programs,
Mm.
in the public programs, I saw how he's being treated. Like you said, almost a rock star.
Yes.
A rock star who could contribute so much to human consciousness.
Of course.
It's not just 30,000-40,000 people. It was his, I think his series in a magazine called Kadavai Thara Kaatru Varatum, a Tamil magazine, which till today, I mean, how many years it's been, till today people talk about it. It's almost like a
Wow.
classic.
Wow.
So the ease of his teachings, the ease with which he's able to relate to people, make even a common person who does not know religion, who does not know the Vedas, understand the importance of living Hinduism.
Right.
I think that was what made people uh, enamored by the way he was able to relate to every human being in the room. There were different categories of people in his satsang. It could be more than a lakh of people sitting. It could be from a rickshaw puller to a businessman to a IIT professor or a scientist or a researcher or a
Mm.
psychologist. But his teachings, the one satsang, every category of person as per his IQ would understand, relate, and be able to implement it.
Mm.
It was not like they had to listen to different teachings to come to their understanding level. But just one satsang, he would relate to everybody.
Wow.
And that is a very rare thing I think people have come across.
Yes. And so he was treated sort of like a cross between a celebrity, a public figure, a spiritual leader.
Yeah.
Obviously, many recognized him as an incarnation even back then for that ability to speak to any listener. But
And I think to many people, he was a friend, a
uh,
philosopher, a guide, and
mm,
most importantly, most of a psychological support.
yes. And all of that basically seemed to change overnight when
Hmm.
a TV station called Sun TV, which is a paid media channel, not a public channel, but a for-profit channel, aired a defamatory, of course, now we know morphed video, in which it appears that Swamiji is in some kind of a compromising position with one of his close devotees, actually you. And I can't imagine, as someone who is devoted to Swamiji, who sees the good that he's doing for humanity, who sees, as you described so beautifully, his ability to show man how to handle himself. When you can see the huge potential for the impact he's going to have in the world, and you've decided to put your life and your energy into helping that cause, and suddenly some media house is using you to attack the very cause you've just decided you're going to align yourself with, I can't imagine, as a devotee, as a woman, as a human being, as an activist, how horrible that must have felt. And overnight, your fame became infamy. Swamiji's popularity was used against him. You must have been under so much pressure at that time by society, by your family, to just disassociate with Swamiji completely. Who knows, were they telling you to speak against him? How did you even survive all of that?
Actually, I was in Kerala that day, that night, March 2nd night. I was in Kerala shooting for a Malayalam film.
Yes.
And uh, it started by a scroll in the Sun TV. And I was so,
Mm,
and then the news started. People started calling
mm.
and finding out. I was really, I think, I can't say shocked. It's something beyond that. To even, I
Yes.
was just, I mean, there's no word to describe what it felt like
Mm.
because it was something unbelievable. It was like
Yes,
something you could never think would happen to you in your life.
right.
Given that, and actually, quite funnily, earlier I was just volunteering. I would come and go. I was not staying
Mm,
on campus
mm,
in the Adheenam, nor was I spending that much time. But as I said, I was already working on film scripts. I had sittings with my technical team. I had
mm.
sittings with my actors whom I
Right.
wanted to rope in for film, and I was working acting in films, and I had other things that I needed to do. So there
Mm,
were so many things that I was doing where I was not spending that much time in the Adhinam. It was
right.
on and off volunteering time I had.
Mm,
But what astounded me was I think the maliciousness with which this whole thing um, was put across. I actually no words to describe it because
mm.
I was stupefied. Why would someone do something like this?
Right.
Because I mean, neither me nor Swamiji has ever gone into someone's life and hurt them. We
Mm,
are two independent people. He was doing something on his own, and I was doing something on my own, and we're nowhere related, except
mm.
being as a devotee.
Yes.
Right at that time, and I was just a visitor devotee, not even
Oh,
person staying on campus. And I was just amazed at the lengths people would go just for, I don't know what you call it at all. Actually, I have no
yes.
words to describe that.
Mm,
And the worst part was being in the film industry. I had tried to reach out to Sun TV and
mm,
people asking them, see, it's basic decency. If you're going to air something that is, humiliating another person, you
mm.
can at least call the person involved and find out what's the truth. And
Right.
as ethical journalist, you are expected to put both sides of the story, and it is left to the public to decide.
Mm,
So when I was trying to reach out, the ferociousness of the maliciousness was so horrendous. They just got back to me saying that, see, I'm sorry, we know it is not true video, it's a mock video, but we have decided we don't want Nithyananda Swami in Tamil Nadu, and seeing that you've been attending his public functions, we just decided to use it to get him out.
wow,
And
they literally
one of
admitted
the,
their agenda.
yes,
Wow.
it's in 2010, 2002, March 2nd, it was around 12 midnight when I got this call. So the best advice the auditor who spoke to me could give me was, I would advise you just stay out of it and don't come to Tamil Nadu for a few days.
My God. So
Because
that's
if you do
basically
come,
meaning that you're threatened. Yes.
yes. So they said if you do come, the next plan is if they're not able to find anybody to crucify Swamiji with, then you will be taken into custody, saying that you've been peddling drugs and running a prostitution house. And once you're in custody, then they can sign anything and pass it off as your signature.
Oh my
And
God.
after that, yeah. So after that, it is just between you and Swamiji, where you will have to run to the courts to tell the world it's not the truth, and it's too late, damn it. So I would really suggest that you get out of the country.
Wow.
That's when I left US for a few months.
Hmm. So
That's
they're
how it
basically
started.
telling you they know the story is fake. They know the video is
Yes.
morphed. And they know that you're innocent. You've done absolutely nothing wrong. But just by nature of the fact that you've associated yourself with Swamiji as a devotee who once in a while comes to the campus to do some volunteer work, obviously because you have a public image also built up as a famous
Yes.
actress, you would have been the easiest target for them because they'd have access to so much footage of you. They would know that your name will sell the story probably more than if it was just a lesser known devotee.
Absolutely.
And so their agenda from the beginning was to push Swamiji out of Tamil Nadu at any
I think it
cost.
was not just Tamil Nadu.
Mm.
I think in general they decided that he and his mission should not survive. It was not just
Mm.
Tamil Nadu per se.
Why do you
Otherwise,
think
it
they
would
would?
not have said.
Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just wondering, why do you think they would want his mission to fail? These particular
See,
individuals?
at that time, I had a few inputs being in the
Mm.
society as a well known person. There
Mm.
were a few people who would call me and say the agenda of Sun TV was one,
Mm.
Sun TV plus. It was a it was multifarious, I think.
Mm.
One is they wanted some property from Swamiji's donated to Swamiji. Two was his popularity meant that
Mm.
atheism could no longer survive in Tamil Nadu.
Uh, I see.
And there was huge conversions that uh, were happening as a side effect of Swamiji's preaching of Hinduism.
Mm.
I I mean, for as far as I've seen, being in the organization for the last 7, 8 years, there was no forced reconversions by Swamiji per se, but just he's able to inspire people to live Hinduism
Yes.
just by the way he lives, and he is able to show how much it has contributed to the world.
Absolutely. In
So,
fact, even that word force could never be applied to anything
hmm,
Swamiji does. It's pure inspiration. And I remember he
true.
spoke once on the difference between hard power and soft power, that the religions
Mm,
with forced conversions, whether it's through physical violence, like a jihadi
mm,
style attack, or whether it's through conscious
mm,
violence, like Christian missionaries who come in and threaten hellfire and eternal damnation, that kind of hard power tactic will never actually make somebody have a spiritual breakthrough or bliss in their life. It's only soft power, inspiring, showing a new way, leading someone to the discovery of their own truth. So for sure, Swamiji wouldn't have forced converted anybody or reconverted anybody.
true.
So you're saying these individuals are so hardened against the possibility for something better in life that to protect
Absolutely.
atheism, they would sacrifice someone bringing so much good to humanity.
See, yeah,
Mm.
from our perspective, it is like that. But from their
Mm.
perspective, I think it is mostly vote bank politics.
Uh,
When it comes to vote bank politics, I guess humanity has no mm, space
wow.
at the
And
end of the day.
someone like you would have been just collateral damage to them,
Yes.
if you wanted. So, how did you actually get through that? I mean, there must have been a lot of strength in your inner space for your connection with Swamiji that you didn't just completely give up on him or his organization. Obviously, now you're in Kavi, you're a Swamini of his order. You've taken the sacred sannyas vows. What brought you from being pushed out of your own homeland, having to go to the USA to avoid an illegal imprisonment, to the place where you are now, where you're really one of the public leaders in this organization?
See, what happened that time was since I've seen the impact, I will not say impact, I would say transformation Swamiji had by his presence and his teachings on people's lives,
Mm.
I can't say firmly believed. It was an unshakable something. Even a decision is not the right word. It's something unshakable in me. I knew that Swamiji was the only one who could provide the solution for human
Right.
consciousness. And I have seen how hard Swamiji has worked for each and everything. Even though it's been a little on and off time, I've been in and
Mm.
out. Since I have been working from the age of very young age, I know how much hard work goes into building something. And if
Right.
people are trusting you and doing something, they will never do unless they have benefited immensely.
Mm.
That's how people are. It's not that we are finding fault with people, but unless I
Mm.
am, even for me outside, if in my pre-monastic life, if someone contributed to my life in a
Mm.
scale of 100, then I would think of probably parting with my treasure or time at the
Right.
scale of 50%.
Mm.
Right? That's how people are today.
Yes.
So given that, unless Swamiji's had immense contribution to their life, transformation to their life,
Mm.
I don't see people actually trying to say, oh, I'd like to donate to you because I have a lot of money. No,
Oh.
nobody
No, the
does
world
that.
doesn't work that way. Yes.
It doesn't. And
No.
Swamiji's worked very hard to build the organization based on just the philosophy and
Mm.
ideology. And for me, the ideology of Swamiji, that every human being should live the science of enlightenment, was something that I could see only Swamiji being able to give to
Mm.
people. That
Mm.
was one thing. Mm, think, yeah, of course, I had people who would come up to me who came all the way to US to stay with me and then try to convince me, saying, "Oh, why don't you think it's just easier to just tell Swamiji brainwashed you or give some kind of drugs and that the video is true? Then the whole society would
Mm.
sympathize with you. And if you do it, there's this political party in Tamil Nadu who would give you an MLA seat and
Oh my
all
God.
these things." Yeah, I found it so funny that why
Oh,
would I say something that's not true just for
yes.
money to get out of a situation easily.
Hmm.
That was what was the stand I thought was the right thing to do.
Yes.
I don't think it is the right thing to say lies just to get out of a situation
No.
because it is easier.
Hmm.
And I think that was the whole thing. It's not
Hmm.
about being easy, it's about standing by the truth, standing
Right.
on what is Dharma. And at no
Absolutely.
way, probably it would have been easier if I had taken the route they said. The
Hmm.
whole society would have been sympathizing me, and I would have been the so-called victim and all that nonsense.
Hmm.
But that would not be the truth, nor it would be justice for what Swamiji is and who he is and what he can do for the world.
Mm, absolutely. And what a huge detraction that would have been to the lives of the millions of people who have benefited from Swamiji's teachings and blessings and healings and programs. And I think you really hit on a very important fact that a lot of people don't consider, which is that human beings are always in it for what they're going to get. You know, we've been trained in this kind of a capitalistic society to get more value for our money. So if you're buying something, find the best deal, find the best quality at the lowest price. You know, if you're going to school, see how little you can do in order to get the highest grade. If you're going to work,
Grades,
you know,
absolutely.
how much vacation can you take per year and still get paid without having a pay decrease? We're basically taught throughout our lives, look out for ourselves, see how much we can gain and how little we can give back. And I've never thought of this before, that so many people live full time around Swamiji, literally awake for 18 hours a day, just constantly working towards his mission, constantly putting everything else aside, sometimes not eating for a few meals in a row, not sleeping, not because someone's telling them they can't, but because they're so passionate to build this organization that they don't even think about those personal needs. Nobody would be able
Absolutely.
to inspire that kind of passionate activism unless every passionate activist had felt that this is literally the best deal they can get in life.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. It's more of a personalized benefit people will look at always. And
Yeah.
nobody is a fool nowadays. Even the foolest of fools people look at as would never sacrifice something of his today for another
No,
person. I think
no,
today that society, that old age values have just gone down the drain. But
yes.
today parents have been thrown out of homes by their own children. That is a society today. I'm sure
Yes.
you would have seen recently in newspapers also the horrible fight between the Singhania family, Gautam
Mm.
Singhania and his father. He has taken his entire father's wealth, which he says is rightfully his, and his father has nothing to live. In this kind of society, if
Mm.
people think that we are really foolish to give up everything and stand by Swamiji,
Yes,
Swamiji's mission, then I think they are a real bunch of fools
absolutely.
for me.
And I think the wisdom that you share, it's encapsulated in the fact that you would prefer to wear the kavi of a sannyasi, renouncing personal wealth, renouncing such a high career that you had. You were really at the pinnacle of what most people would seek in life, acting, directing, writing your own scripts, basically choosing your own projects, leaving all that aside and throwing your life completely into monastic Hinduism when you were offered so much. You could have been like the golden girl for India in the victim role. You could have had a
Yeah,
seat in some political party for no actual credible reason, just because you're saying
exactly.
something that suits their agenda. A lot of people, they'll strive for that political seat, that so-called power, or they'll strive for money, or they'll strive for fame. You really lived a life where you were offered the peak of what people want in society: political power, money, and fame. And you literally said no to all of that. That's a true sannyasi. You truly renounced something. I think it's such a beautiful example you're giving us.
I think it's always got to do with what is right versus
Uh,
what is, like Swami always says.
hmm,
It's not about what's easy, but what
hmm,
is right.
yes.
And that's something I always remember even as a child,
Hmm,
that probably more than my mother, probably it was the way we live, the culture, the Hindu lifestyle.
yes.
That is what has taught me that never ever say something that will hurt another person. So that's why
Yes.
when gossip, I get offended if people gossip. And
Hmm,
if I had to ever say something against Swamiji, that would mean the worst existence for
yes.
me for no reason.
Absolutely.
You can't just hurt, especially when Swamiji is doing so much of transform good
Hmm,
in people. Now, I have seen people just walk out of depression, addictions, physical pains. I think people should just get a life and see, if people are getting out of physical pain, there is nobody in this planet who can do that to you. You can
hmm,
get what you call painkillers, some
hmm,
kind of
yes.
suppressants,
Yes.
but you not feeling a physical pain is something that only God can remove.
Hmm,
Then He is God, whether you agree or
yes.
not.
Yes.
So since I've
Absolutely.
seen that,
Hmm.
seen that with people, and I felt it'd be real injustice for me to take an easy way out.
Yes, absolutely. And as far as heroes are concerned, the way that you were standing, for sure, you're a hero to all of us in Sangha. And the way Swamiji himself carried himself throughout all of these attacks, actually, since that fake news story, there have been other attempted attacks, all of which have been proven to be lies, just like the first. Of course, they have this agenda against the superconscious breakthrough Swamiji is bringing. I remember seeing a beautiful picture of Swamiji. He's smiling so gracefully. He's lighting up the camera. People around him are just gazing at him. I had to do a double take because in that scene, he's actually handcuffed and being escorted by an enclave of police officers when he
Yeah,
was illegally arrested. The grace that he carried, even in a moment that anybody else would be crying, what he's lived through that I'm sure would have killed an ordinary human being. I think that enough is proof that he's a divine incarnation among us. And
absolutely. It is not just the way he lived, but the way he was able to give the strength for all his devotees.
yes,
See, like for me also, it was not just, see, your beliefs can only sustain you to so much.
mm,
If there was no some extraordinary strength supporting you, whether physically Swamiji was there or talking to me, it did not matter, because,
mm,
of course, I had not spoken to Swamiji for almost a year since March 2nd, 2010 incident.
wow,
But just knowing that he's there, that he knows what's right and he'll take
mm,
care,
mm,
I think that gave more foundation to my belief,
right. And I think this
to
is
my strength.
even this is a fact I think would surprise a lot of people. That entire year, every public statement you gave, every interview you gave, every decision that you made from the time you were attacked, you did not have any personal communication with Swamiji for an entire year. I think a lot of idiots out there must be thinking, okay, there was a damage control plan. Swamiji called you and said, Ma, this is what you say, this is how you handle it. Or you would have been calling him begging, Swamiji, please bless me, please help me. The entire time, every single thing that you did was just on the strength of knowing, in a divine sense, he was with you. That is so
Yeah,
beautiful.
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And the decision, see, but I also know that God is always with you when you stand on the truth.
Yes.
So it may be difficult or whatever, but I knew just Swamiji was with me and he will take care of it.
Yes.
Take care of the whole thing. I think that was the essence of the strength of
Ah.
how I came through the whole thing.
And tell me, how is your life now? So you went from being on the top of your career in the outer world sense. Now I can see you're like at the peak of sannyas, but how does that actually
Uh,
feel? I shouldn't say
uh,
peak. Like, I know it's constantly
yeah.
going to expand.
Yeah. Okay. See, this has been a very interesting journey because exploring your inner world and trying to, let's just say, well, like how Swamiji says, the more you explore your inner world, the more surprises you find.
Yes.
And it's much more interesting than watching any movie.
True. Actually, your whole life could be turned into a movie, and I know so many people would find that just enthralling.
And
How
the
do you,
best part was, sorry,
that's okay, go ahead, please.
the best part is, Swamiji just empowers you with his teaching so much that you don't have to always run back and depend on Swamiji for every small thing. Yeah, that is such a liberating and I would rather say a snook up to his detractors who keep saying that he brainwashes us. I mean, oh God, I can't find a word to describe how weird it sounds. And
Yes.
every teaching of Swamiji is only empowering and liberating a human being. Someone can even say Swamiji is trying to brainwash and enslave us. Just is so absolutely weirdly funny.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, the number of times I've asked Swamiji, what should I do in specific situations? And he'll say, I'm not here to tell you what to do, you make a decision. And when
Mm,
we make a decision, I see he supports that decision. And even
absolutely.
there was a recent Inner Awakening program. One day, a few people were asking Swamiji, participants of
Mm.
that program, should I take sannyas? Should I join your order? Should I be a full-time
Mm.
volunteer? Should I be an Adinavasi? He answered so beautifully, if you choose to, I'll support it, but I'll never tell anybody what to do.
Mm.
And it's really crazy that anybody would think that he's going to brainwash people. I feel like if Swamiji chose to, he probably could. No doubt, probably he could. If he could brainwash people, this Adinam would likely have 10 billion or not
Absolutely.
10 million members. But he's here with soft power, not with hard power. He's here to create our reality. What we want, he empowers us to get it. Do you think the detractors are ever going to realize that and see that actually all along they've been fighting on the wrong side, that they're only wasting their time because his mission is growing by leaps and bounds every time a new allegation is brought up against him and he flies through it
Mm.
victoriously? At some point they have to stop and look at themselves and say, whatever they're doing is futile. Maybe they should also come see what all the hype is about and actually maybe become his devotees in the end.
I think it's a little they probably know it, it's staring in their face, but
Hmm.
they don't want to give up probably because of their own egoistic
Uh,
fulfillments.
uh.
And I feel that they already know they're losing, which is why they suddenly spurt up in the mainstream media with
Yeah.
really funny stories saying, we have filed cases on them. Really? Filing
Yeah.
cases is crime in the country? At
Oh,
least we are filing and legally fighting with them,
that's
not going
right.
from one media house to the other,
Oh,
crying like babies, saying, oh, I don't have this, I don't have
yes.
that. That's not what we're doing. We're fighting only based on dharma and only legally. We are not
Yes.
running for any kind of glorification of
Mm.
anything. If that, like you said, if that's what Swamiji wanted,
Yes.
it's just so simple, especially since they claim he has brainwashing powers,
Right.
hypnotism powers, and God knows what else.
If he did, nobody would have ever turned against him in his mission. If he had those powers, none of these attacks would have happened in the first place. He would have stopped it. But I've heard Swamiji say free will is the only way
Hmm.
human beings are going to grow and evolve. So he, of course, gives us that freedom, the freedom to make stupid mistakes and to realize the mistakes are stupid and then come to that final
Completion.
Yes, come to the space of completion, which I think anybody watching this interview should look up. Maybe we'll put some links to where they can practice completion in the description. Akka, is there anything more you'd like to share with viewers? Anybody seen this interview so that they can leave with the full clarity about these cases?
Yes, I just want to add a few things because, see, a lot of people just run by what is in the media,
Mm,
but now we're all accessible to any kind of clarifications, questions,
mm,
comments. And as far as the persecution is concerned, I think we have everything's transparent, everything's on a
yeah,
website.
yes.
So I think it's high time people at least start having an open-ended view.
Mm,
Whether whatever, we're not asking them to support us or say that we are right, but at least read what is there,
yes.
investigate the truth, and personally, if people are suffering after having someone like Swamiji in this planet, it would be extreme foolishness,
Right.
foolhardiness.
Right.
That's the only reason we're all striving to take Swamiji's messages to the people. It is
Yes.
not that we gain anything or Swamiji gains anything. I mean, you have been in the Adheenam the last few years, and so
Mm,
have I.
mm.
And I've never seen where a single thing actually adds to Swamiji,
No.
adds to his glory, or
No.
or people can say, oh, he's making money out of this, or he's getting
Mm,
glorified. And I think it's high time people walk into our Adhinam and talk
mm.
to each one of us. We are not all bimbos or dumbos as
No.
they project. Each one
Mm,
of us are highly educated, qualified,
mm,
and each one of us have been achievers in our own fields,
mm. Yes.
which means that the extraordinary contribution Swamiji is going to make to human consciousness is
Yes.
something that we're all so passionate about. It is
Yes.
not just Swamiji, it is not just what? Heroification of a
Oh,
personality. It is
yes.
the ideology which Swamiji stands on.
Yes. Absolutely.
And instead of just going by media reports and glorified nonsense,
Mm,
people should come to our Adhinam and see the voluminous work Swamiji is doing.
yes.
The magnitude of reviving the Vedic civilization in its entirety is not a small. Even to have a vision,
Mm.
person might just
Overwhelmed.
get tired, overwhelmed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
Oh my God, I'll have to revive a whole Vedic civilization. That means from the food. But Swamiji is doing it.